The Last of Us Season 1, Episode 8 adapts an essential aspect of the original game in a climactic ending that will be vital to Ellie and Joel's story. Since The Last of Us Episode 6's cliffhanger ending, the series has revolved around Ellie's drive to keep Pedro Pascal's Joel from dying. The Last of Us Episode 7 chose to include the DLC story of The Last of Us Left Behind as a way of both fleshing out her already fantastic character and establishing her motivations for desperately trying to save Joel's life. This only continued with The Last of Us Episode 8, in which Ellie encounters a man named David, played by Scott Shepherd. Ellie manages to trade David a deer for some medicine, which sets Joel back on the path to healing. However, when it is revealed that the men from the university who attacked Joel and Ellie in Last of Us Episode 6 were part of David's group, the episode takes a turn. This culminates in an explosive, action-packed, harrowing ending for The Last of Us Episode 8, the season's penultimate episode. With the men from the university belonging to David's group, he naturally wants to bring Joel to justice while developing a strange fondness for Ellie. David is revealed as the leader of the group due to his status as a preacher and his group's need for religion, or more aptly any kind of leader god in this case. David reveals that he used to be a teacher before the cordyceps outbreak allowed him to find God. The episode introduces David in a somewhat positive light through his drive to feed his community, his fair treatment of the people that call him a leader, and his benevolent treatment of Ellie. However, HBO's The Last of Us Episode 8 slowly unravels David as a true villain. This begins with the reveal that he knows who Joel and Ellie are and his commitment to bringing Joel to justice after he killed one of David's men in self-defense. While his actions towards Ellie are still friendly with his eagerness to induct her into his community, it is quickly revealed that David has a much darker nature than previously thought. This dark nature surrounds the reasoning behind why David is so committed to keeping Ellie alive. At first, David says that he needs help in leading his community. He says that he can relate to Ellie, as both are big parts of a violent world, stating that she has a violent heart the same as him. David says that most of all he needs a friend, and he believes that Bella Ramsey's Ellie could be that friend. However, over the course of the episode, David's true intentions become disturbingly clear. Throughout this conversation, David provides some hints at his true nature, and why he wants Ellie to stay with his group. From his obsession with cordyceps, stating that it secures its future through violence and that it loves, to his comments about having a violent heart. It becomes evident that David is not the benevolent, kind man he came across as earlier. This is compounded at the end of The Last of Us Episode 8 when it is heavily implied David attempts to sexually assault Ellie after stating, "The fighting is the part I like the most." Shortly after the harrowing ending scene in which Ellie kills David in defense, she stumbles outside in a traumatic daze before Joel, whose Last of Us Episode 6 wounds have healed, catches up with her. Joel then holds Ellie as she breaks down in his arms, which is arguably The Last of Us' most important scene in both HBO's adaptation and the original game. The scene shows the trust Joel and Ellie have for each other and the connection that neither character can hide anymore. This is exemplified by Joel referring to Ellie as baby girl, the same term of endearment he used to call his daughter Sarah by before her tragic death. In The Last of Us up to this point, the father-daughter bond between Joel and Ellie has been masterfully foreshadowed in a variety of ways. This foreshadowing all builds to this moment in The Last of Us Episode 8. in which Joel finally unabashedly embraces Ellie as his daughter following her traumatizing experiences and their journey together.